What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports back to you guys with another video. In this video, I'm here with my Kansas City Chiefs versus Cincinnati Bengals 2019 NFL Week 1 preseason preview. We're going to be previewing the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cincinnati Bengals, giving you guys some players to watch and some things to look for during this matchup. Now, before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, upload NFL videos and NFL content daily. So, looking at some things to watch, we got to look at the halfbacks for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Damian Williams is projected to be the starting halfback for the Kansas City Chiefs, but there's also a couple of other guys who I think some people might be sleeping on. Carlos Hyde is not too shabby. He actually was pretty solid last year when it came to scoring touchdowns before the Cleveland Browns traded him. And then the big reason why the Browns traded Carlos Hyde last season was because he had a poor yards per carry. But I think he could be a good threat in the red zone for the Kansas City Chiefs just because he has good hands and he's very big and strong. So he could be a very good red zone player to use for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. Then you also have a couple of other guys who I'm very interested in seeing. So I'm interested in watching these halfbacks for the Kansas City Chiefs. Then I'm interested in seeing the linebackers for the Kansas City Chiefs because they are loaded at the linebacker position. I mean, they have a lot of depth there, and I don't really know who's going to end up starting at that linebacker position. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on the linebackers in this game for Kansas City because I think they're going to be very, very important to watch this year for the Kansas City Chiefs. Then for the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm watching that backup quarterback position battle to see who ends up being the backup quarterback behind Andy Dalton and who could be in the driver's seat for being the first guy to end up starting over Andy Dalton if he does indeed play like trash this year. So you got Jeff Driscoll and Ryan Finley. Now, me personally, I don't think Jeff Driscoll was bad at all last year. I thought he was pretty good if we can get rid of his fumbling issues. Thought he had a pretty good season in 2018 filling in for Andy Dalton. Now, if he can just take care of the ball better when it comes to not fumbling, then he would be pretty straight. Then you got the rookie Ryan Finley out of NC State. Now, a lot of people ask me this question about Ryan Finley. Could Ryan Finley end up taking this Bengals team to the playoffs? I don't know. But I compare Ryan Finley to a less athletic version of Alex Smith. And the reason why I say that is because he's very conservative with the ball, doesn't really take a lot of chances, doesn't really take a lot of risky passes and things like that. So he's very smart with the ball. He's conservative. He's accurate as well. But he's not a guy who's going to beat you with mobility. He's pretty slow. So he's not really going to burn anybody with his speed. So he's really just a strict pocket passer, really, but he's a really smart quarterback. He's not going to turn the ball over a lot, but it's something that you want in your quarterback. You want a quarterback who's smart with the ball and very decisive when it comes to every throw that he makes and not just throwing caution to the wind, just taking any throw that he wants to. So you want a quarterback who's a little bit cautious. So that's why I like Ryan Finley there. Now, Ryan Finley, and a couple of reports I've read, Ryan Finley has been taking second team reps, so that's a pretty good thing. So Ryan Finley might be the real deal. So I'm eager to see what he does in this game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Then we look at the linebackers for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now the linebackers in this game, I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on because basically anybody's starting spot at that linebacker position is up for grabs because the starters that played last year were not really good, especially in coverage. They blew a lot of coverages, and they were a big reason why the Cincinnati Bengals defense ended up kind of suffering how they suffered. The Cincinnati Bengals defense is really good. When you look at the defensive backs, when you look at the defensive line, all solid. But when you look at the linebacker position, that's where their biggest weakness is. So if they're able to address that, then I think their defense will be pretty good. And it all starts in this preseason matchup. I want to see which guys are going to end up competing for starting playing time, who's going to be the starters, and who's going to show out. Because basically, in my opinion, I think every starting spot when it comes to that linebacker position is up for grabs because a lot of guys last year did not really play that well. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on the linebackers. Now some players to watch for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like I said earlier, I'm keeping my eye on Jeff Driscoll and Ryan Finley. Both of those guys competing to see who ends up being that backup quarterback. Now, Ryan Finley, like I said, he's been taking second team reps lately with the second team. So that's not really a good sign if you're a guy like Jeff Driscoll. But I'm guessing that both of these guys get a good amount of playing time and they both get a good opportunity to show what they're able to do in the game. But I'm going to go with Jeff Driscoll, man. This guy has had a lot of experience, and I think that he's going to end up showing out in his preseason matchup, and I think Ryan Finley might do pretty good. But I think Jeff Driscoll, since he has started in a couple of games, he has the upper hand there. Then I'm looking at the halfbacks. Travion Williams, the rookie out of Texas A&M, he was exceptional for Texas A&M. He was one of the biggest sleepers going into this draft. Then you got Rodney Anderson. Now, Rodney Anderson, he's interesting because if he's able to stay healthy, I think he ends up making this roster. Now, I know the Cincinnati Bengals are going to have 4 halfbacks if Rodney Anderson makes the roster, but Rodney Anderson is just a guy who you just simply can't throw away. This guy's just super athletic. He reminds me a lot of Derek McFadden. He has great size. Not only does he have a great size, but he has great speed. He can run past you with his blazing speed. He's also big, so he can run through you as well. He's also pretty shifty as well, and he's very, very exceptional catching the ball out of the backfield. He can line up and play a little bit of receiver as well, and he also runs very good routes for a halfback. So Rodney Anderson is definitely a guy who can legitimately end up making the case for why the Cincinnati Bengals should take 4 halfbacks into this season, because Rodney Anderson is a freaking monster, man. If he's able to stay healthy, this guy is going to cause a lot of damage for opposing teams if he ends up getting picked up by somebody. And he was definitely a first-round caliber talent in this year's draft, but because of the injuries and his inability to stay healthy at Oklahoma, that affected him, and that was a big reason why he went where he went in the NFL draft. Now, at the wide receiver position, we got to look at guys like Alden Tate and John Ross. Now, Alden Tate is a big body wide receiver. Kind of want to see what he's able to do. And John Ross, simply for the fact that John Ross hit the clock is ticking for John Ross. He has to show something. He has to show some signs of development, some signs of improvement, and he has to be able to stay healthy. And I need to see a little bit out of John Ross. And in the first couple of series, I need to see John Ross make some plays so I can get a little bit more confident in John Ross, because Cincinnati Bengals are going to be without A.J. Green for the first couple of weeks to start the season off. So John Ross is going to have to be a guy who ends up making some plays in his passing game for the Cincinnati Bengals. Then I'm also looking at a guy like Stanley Morgan Jr., the rookie out of Nebraska. Now, Stanley Morgan Jr. is really solid, but he's really solid, but that's just about it. He doesn't really give you nothing extra. Nothing really sticks out about Stanley Morgan. He's just solid, and that's pretty much good enough to make this roster, I believe. So I'm eager to see what he does. Then I'm looking at linebacker out of NC State, Jermaine Pratt. Now, Jermaine Pratt was a former safety when he first came on that NC State team a few years ago as a freshman. Then they converted him into a linebacker, and they put some weight on him, and boom, he became their linebacker. Now, Jermaine Pratt is very good in coverage with his safety background, and I think he can end up starting in week 1 for the Cincinnati Bengals team, just for the fact that they definitely need some help at that linebacker position. I think Jermaine Pratt could be a guy, if he has a good preseason, he can end up starting there at one of those linebacker spots. So players to watch for the Kansas City Chiefs. Keep my eye on Mecole Hardman now. The Mecole Hardman, the hype train has kind of died down compared to what it was a few months ago. A lot of people thought he was going to be the guy who ends up filling in for Tyreek Hill, but we know Tyreek Hill is coming back, and a lot of people were expecting him to do big things his rookie year, but I'm a guy who kind of wants to see what he does in in-game action before I judge him, and I want to see what he does in his preseason matchup. Now, the hype has kind of died down on Mecole Hardman quite a bit, actually, compared to what it was. He had more hype than DK Metcalf when he got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. So Mecole Hardman is a guy I'm eager to see what he does in this preseason matchup here. Then I'm looking at the halfback position. So I touched on this a little bit earlier in the video. You got halfback Damian Williams. You got Carlos Hyde. So Damian Williams is projected to be the starting halfback. Carlos Hyde should be the backup. Now, Carlos Hyde, I think he's going to be a very good weapon for the Kansas City Chiefs to use in the red zone because of how big he is, his size, and also how he's very good at catching the ball as well. So I think that's going to be something that benefits Kansas City Chiefs when it comes to using him in the red zone. Then you got Darren Thompson. Now, Darren Thompson is somebody who's going to put the league on notice. He's most definitely going to make this team. He's been exceptional for Kansas City all off season, and I expect him to have a very good preseason. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Darren Thompson somewhere throughout the regular season cut into some of these carries that Damian Williams and Carlos Hyde again, because I think Darren Thompson is that good, and I think he's the most talented halfback that they have on the roster right now. A lot of people might disagree with me, but I mean, just from the stuff I've been seeing in training camp and all the off-season rookie minicamp, OTAs, Darren Thompson has impressed me a lot. Then on the defense side of the ball, I'm looking at defensive tackle Colin Sanders out of Illinois, Northern Illinois, I think it is, or Western Illinois. It's Western Illinois. He got drafted out of Western Illinois in this year's NFL draft. Really good defensive tackle, very explosive as well. Then I'm looking at linebackers Darren Lee and Anthony Hitchens. Now, really, I'm looking at all the linebackers for Kansas City because I don't really know who's going to end up starting. But I'm really looking at Darren Lee and Anthony Hitchens. I think that could be a little bit of a position battle there to see who starts there. Darren Lee is a little bit young. Anthony Hitchens is a little bit young as well, but he has a little bit more experience than Darren Lee. Darren Lee is a pretty good starter as well. Both of these guys are pretty solid starters. You can't really go wrong with starting either one of these guys. Then the last guy I'm watching on the defense is Juan Thornhill, the rookie out of Virginia. A lot of people are really high on him, and I'm really eager to see what he does in this preseason matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. So this is it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.